What if the biggest mistake you can make in life isn't failing, but slowly wasting years without even realizing it? What if the real danger isn't being lost, but being comfortable while time quietly slips through your fingers? Look at that image again. That feeling in your chest? That's not fear. That's recognition. Here's the harsh truth most people avoid. The lie that ruins lives isn't you're not good enough. It's you still have time. Society praises productivity, hustle, and achievement, but almost no one teaches you how to protect your time, your mental focus, or your direction. You're told to keep going, keep pushing, keep climbing, even if you're climbing the wrong wall. This conversation isn't about success hacks or motivation tricks. It's about the one mental mistake that silently stole 39 years of life and how to fix it before it costs you decades. If you've ever felt busy but unfulfilled, disciplined but disconnected, productive yet strangely empty, stay. What you're about to hear might save you from repeating the same pattern, just with a different excuse. Most people grow up chasing a version of success they never consciously chose. A promotion, a bigger paycheck, a nicer title. It all sounds logical, respectable, safe. But here's the quiet lie hiding underneath all of it. I've got time. That sentence feels harmless, even comforting, yet it's one of the most dangerous beliefs for your mindset, time management, and personal growth. Because once your brain believes time is abundant, urgency disappears, and so does intention. Climbing the corporate ladder only makes sense if it's actually your ladder. Otherwise, you're just moving faster in a direction you never questioned. Productivity without alignment is just busy exhaustion. The boredom people feel in their 30s and 40s doesn't come from lack of talent. It comes from living a predictable loop with no curiosity left. Real self-development starts when each day teaches you something new about who you're becoming, not just what you're earning. You can spend 30 years moving upward, checking every box society handed you, only to realize, too late, that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. And the regret won't be about the nights you worked late. It'll be about the conversations you postponed, the risks you talked yourself out of, the trips you saved for later, and the words you never said. Life lessons don't usually scream, they whisper, and only get loud when time is almost gone. That's the trap. Your brain confuses movement with meaning. It rewards comfort, familiarity, and external validation, while quietly taxing your mental focus and sense of purpose. You think you're progressing, but something feels off, like running on a treadmill that never changes scenery. And that uneasy feeling? That's not anxiety. That's the early warning system trying to wake you up, right before life forces the issue in a much harsher way. Most real transformations don't start with motivation, they start with collapse. A plan fails, a door closes, something you counted on disappears. Psychologically, these moments hurt because they shatter the illusion of control your brain clings to. But they also do something powerful. They interrupt autopilot. Suddenly, your mindset can't rely on routine anymore, and that's when real self-development finally has space to begin. Getting fired, betrayed, or financially squeezed feels like punishment, but it's often a brutal gift. Pressure exposes who you are when comfort is gone. Some people crack, retreat, and numb themselves. Others push back, sharpen their discipline, and rebuild stronger. Winners don't love pain, they love what pressure reveals. That's where productivity stops being performative and becomes personal. The question isn't why me, it's what am I supposed to see now? Nothing, however, recalibrates life faster than brushing against death. A health scare, a heart attack, a close call that reminds you the clock isn't theoretical, it's ticking. That's when people realize how much of their time was spent pleasing others, chasing approval, or living out someone else's script. Mental focus snaps back to the present. You see clearly how often you delayed joy, honesty, and meaning under the excuse of responsibility. And here's the part most people miss. These wake-up moments aren't rare, they're just ignored. Your brain is constantly sending smaller signals before life sends a sledgehammer. Burnout, restlessness, a quiet dissatisfaction that won't go away. Those signals are invitations to change before the damage gets permanent. And once you notice that, the next question becomes unavoidable. If success isn't the destination, then what exactly are you supposed to be building instead? Once the autopilot breaks, a new question shows up, and it's uncomfortable. If success isn't the finish line, then what is? Most people were taught to treat life like a checklist: graduate, get promoted, earn more, retire happy. But psychology shows something different. The brain adapts fast to outcomes and trophies. What actually sustains motivation, mental focus, and personal growth is progress itself, the feeling of becoming. Purpose isn't a title you reach, it's a verb you practice. It's not about being successful, but about becoming more capable, more aware, more aligned. The moments that shape your mindset aren't the straight lines, they're the detours, the mistakes, the experiments that didn't work but taught you something valuable. In hindsight, most people are grateful for the goals they missed because those failures quietly redirected their life lessons. That's why chasing status alone feels empty. Your brain wants movement with meaning. It wants growth you can feel in your habits, your discipline, and the way you show up daily. This is where productivity stops being about doing more and starts being about doing what matters. Reading one page a day of something that challenges you, journaling to clarify decisions, or learning a skill you've been postponing, those small acts compound faster than any external achievement. In the end, purpose is almost embarrassingly simple: time with people you love, work that feels honest to who you are, experiences that stretch you instead of possessions that impress others. And above all, the courage to stay present while you're building. That's how you learn how to live better, not someday, but now. And once that becomes clear, another truth follows. None of this survives in the wrong environment. Once you redefine purpose, something becomes painfully obvious. Growth doesn't happen in isolation. Psychology has shown this for decades. You absorb the habits, beliefs, and emotional standards of the people around you. Whether you like it or not, you move toward the average of your environment. Your mindset, discipline, and even your sense of what's normal are constantly being calibrated by who you spend time with. That's why changing goals without changing surroundings rarely works. You can want better productivity and sharper mental focus, but if your environment rewards distraction, cynicism, or comfort, your brain will eventually cave. Rooms matter. Conversations matter. Energy matters. Seek spaces where you feel slightly uncomfortable, where you're not the smartest person, and where learning is valued more than ego. That's how real personal growth accelerates. And yes, this part requires courage, cutting proximity with people who drag you down. Chronic complainers, quiet saboteurs, and those who feel threatened by your progress aren't neutral. They're friction. Winners don't resent growth, they celebrate it. They ask questions. They share strategies. They understand that discipline isn't competition, it's contagious. At the same time, depth matters more than volume. The biggest regret people carry isn't about strangers. It's about family and close friends they kept postponing. The call they didn't make, the visit they delayed. Those relationships give weight to everything else you build. And once you protect them, a deeper challenge emerges: learning how to protect your inner world from fear and outside noise. At some point, you realize the real enemy was never external. It wasn't lack of opportunity, money, or intelligence. It was the noise inside your own head. Fear wears many disguises, but the most exhausting one is worrying about what other people think. Psychology is clear here. Obsessing over external judgment drains mental focus and sabotages discipline faster than failure ever could. You don't lose energy because life is hard. You lose it because you keep managing imaginary opinions. Here's a useful mental reframe. Treat negative voices like mosquitoes: annoying, persistent, but powerless unless you let them land. You don't debate mosquitoes, you swat them. Set boundaries. Stop explaining your vision to people who can't see past their own limitations. When your growth triggers discomfort in others, that's not a warning sign, it's confirmation. Light exposes insecurity, and that friction means your personal growth is working. Faith, whether spiritual, philosophical, or internal, is what stabilizes you when logic runs out. Anxiety feels normal in modern life, but it isn't inevitable. Stress shows up when you try to control outcomes instead of committing to direction. Your job isn't to force results, it's to move forward consistently. Discipline plus trust beats panic plus overthinking every time. That's one of the most underrated life lessons nobody teaches. Once fear loses its grip, something shifts. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop negotiating with comfort, and that clarity creates a new tension because awareness without action becomes its own form of regret. Which leads to the final question you can't escape. If time is limited and fear is optional, why aren't you moving faster? Once you see the truth, waiting becomes the real danger. The perfect moment is a psychological illusion your brain uses to delay discomfort. Life doesn't pause until you feel ready. It keeps charging rent daily. Urgency isn't panic, it's clarity. It's understanding that every postponed decision quietly costs you time, momentum, and self trust. That's why most people don't fail from lack of knowledge, they fail from delayed action. There's a reason obsession beats talent. The brain rewires through repetition, not intention. People who win aren't always the smartest, they're the ones willing to work when motivation disappears. Discipline grows when you act even while doubting yourself. Write when you don't feel inspired. Train when it's inconvenient. Learn when it's uncomfortable. That's how productivity becomes identity, not effort. Here's a practical shift. Stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "What does this season require?" Seasons demand different sacrifices. Some require long nights, others require saying no. If you want sharper mental focus, design your days aggressively. Protect mornings for deep work, limit digital noise, and audit where your hours actually go. This is where many people unknowingly fall into a digital hangover, mentally overstimulated, busy, and exhausted, yet still falling behind. Act with the urgency of someone who understands mortality, but the calm of someone who trusts the process. Every day is borrowed time. Ask yourself honestly, if today were my last normal day, would I respect how I used it? If the answer stings, good. That sting isn't guilt, it's information. And information, when acted on, is the final bridge between knowing how to live better and actually doing it. Now it's on you, not tomorrow, not when things calm down, today. Because understanding this mistake means nothing if you keep repeating it. Ask yourself honestly, what part of your life are you still postponing out of comfort? Where are you trading your time for approval, routine, or distraction? Real self-development doesn't happen when you feel ready. It happens when you decide that wasting years is no longer acceptable. So here's your challenge. Pick one change and act on it immediately. One boundary, one habit, one uncomfortable conversation, one focused hour without distractions. That's how mindset shifts become discipline, and discipline turns into personal growth. Don't overthink it. Momentum doesn't come from perfect plans, it comes from movement. Stay quiet, stay sharp, stay in progress. And remember, fixing this mistake is step one, but staying consistent is step two. If you want to go deeper and learn how to become unstoppable, even when motivation disappears every single week, the next video waiting for you is how to become unstoppable in 2026 and actually achieve your goals, even if you lose motivation every week. Watch it next. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep upgrading your mind, one idea at a time.